One. Om Ganatamirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshunditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gatamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yoga Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Jagutatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Samsvam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Radhikanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Trikatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Triyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Padidhyam Padnebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Nicely chanted. Very good. Hare Krishna. So just to begin with, how are you all doing with your slokas? We have, the reason I ask, because we just had one person who submitted slokas so far, it's Mother Harini. She's doing very well.
I just started watching a YouTube video on the pronunciation of 2-7. I've just been listening to it, and I hope it kind of transmits somehow.
Anyone trying? Everyone going through them little videos which I made? Is that?
Oh, no, I didn't see those. I'll check those out.
Anyone tried that? I made those little videos. If you go onto the Moodle, see these little videos I made. If that helps you, But this is the 4th week, and before you know it, there'll be 1 week left, and you might have lots of slokas to do. So you can speak to me after the class or something. If you're having trouble again, I could go through just basically my method of learning slokas, if that helps. Yes, well, please.
How many slokas do you have to do for this unit?
12. Is that right? Just 12 for chapters 1 to 6. It's not many. Did I get that right? 12. Yes, Mother Harini.
But I think you say that we can put them whenever you can upload them whenever you want until the end of the course. That's right.
Well, at least it's good if if you could have these slokas recited for this section during this section.
Oh.
Yeah. So rather than wait till 2025. Bit of pressure is sometimes good, in learning. Adults tend to learn like that way better than children, apparently. A little bit of pressure. So, so try and work on the slokas. Good on your essay as well. I think you might have selected which one of the 7. Okay. Anyone had a go at that? Yeah. I think Mother Harini's had a go at the essay as well. You've done. Yeah, you mentioned it. Anyway, if you need any advice, any help in that regard, we're always here to help, okay? And anything else about the admin side, it's all in Moodle, it's all clear for you, you've got all the, such.
Because you mentioned there are some like open book questions.
Yeah, that's it.
But I couldn't find those on the
Moodle
website.
They're there, perhaps we'll sit with you and find them for you and show you where they are.
Yeah.
It's in the student handbook, excuse me. It's in your student handbook. Yeah, you'll find it there. If you go through there, you'll find a choice of 7 questions. Okay, and you can choose one of them. Yeah, this is the open book one where you can refer to the Bhagavad Gita and you're writing an essay. Yeah,
That's yes.
yeah, open book. I think Hare Krishna 9.
And the closed book exam, I have that in my diary as 14. I have it's a closed book exam, that's 14th of July, is that correct?
Yeah, there was some communication about that.
Okay,
Just today on the WhatsApp.
right, yeah, but it said 4th of July in the WhatsApp, so I wasn't sure if it was, that was a typo. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's 14th.
Okay, that's
Right.
correct. Okay,
Okay,
it's the 14th.
just want to
Yeah.
clarify.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna. So what I want to do to start today, I want you to break into groups, okay? So we have a group of 4 ladies over there. 3, 4, yeah. And 3, 4, yeah. And also online, groups of 3 or 4, whatever can be clear. So what I want you to do is just reflect back on when you first read the Bhagavad Gita. And what is it that struck you about reading it? Was it something which was a wow moment or specific teachings or what was going on for you in your life or something, you know? Is that clear? That just when you first read Gita, what did it mean for you? Yeah, so perhaps reflect, silence for 30 seconds. Okay, more or less than 20. So get into your groups and just discuss that. We'll give you 10 minutes for that, yeah? So, Hare Krishna. Ladies, you can make some room, you can sit at the back, and if you want to receive it, then just group for the moment. Yeah, it's okay?
I'll give you something ready.
Yeah. Move around a bit, right? It's a bit, and then
That's
be
very
here.
different minds.
That's it. Oh, yeah, we can also sit around and we've got a group chair, yeah. For those who want to online, then you will get a prompt to actually join a group. So please accept that prompt, okay? It's working on that.
Yes, that's kind
Oh, okay. I mean,
I remember being
yeah,
asked
so
first impression. Because I wish everything had way
yeah. Yeah.
Why I'm not pretty good. I'll give you guys. But just like, yeah, please go ahead. Clearly define what's. Originally say is 5 arguments. This is how this studying about you know talking about the solution of the argument. Now I have more understanding. I don't like it's a lot.
Yeah.
Which tell us
kind of loss.
what was your mood when you first read Gita? What's going on?
Wow,
What happened? Like, it's nice, it's really fast.
Fathers. Really sit out. Particularly that one picture of the book, it's like a child. The picture of my son is. I kind of really.
I need to book very
Like, yeah, yeah.
Whatever.
It's like really, yes. I
Concept of
wasn't really reading it.
So I find it very.
Pictures of it, in this life. Sorry, so this.
What else we do? Studying.
That's it, that was my first impression.
First time when I saw it, I was an hour.
So many other things coming the way. I'm saying for the. You don't know this. Sometimes you feel that was never going to be done. You have long dreadlocks across and those other things in my friends have a reggae band and so they played an audition. She came for the audition. Every month. Even all the time, somebody died. And it's not like, okay, just have a few drinks away. It's in like 5 minutes, 13 days, we're on this project, so we're all gonna die, why you placing money, but then everyone's like, I say. So, people like, something. But then when you come to the temple, the teacher. A lot of minds did it young, the group of minds did it young, you could buy it anytime. Why are you waiting till you're old? Not another steal here, do it now. So what about me?
So then I would keep. The first really good. How was it next to you? The family.
Well, no, I had a question. I said,
Absolutely.
so I already did.
Yeah.
So
It's like a different.
Knocking around with their side. It's crazy, man. And they're very insecure. Who's not gonna back them? Who's gonna hide it from you? They don't wanna take it.
There was a bad.
So, keeps it more curiosity. Providing. Give it
I
out.
think they. I think it's not from us.
Yeah, and also something like that was looking at the student. Now the question is that they want to give the higher taste and what is that? So I'm not set up on top one when you get back to the I said start to go back and it's someone who's
I can see it. Abhijit can't get in.
That's what I'm trying to do.
I was just reading about so you just touched on everything is to understand self-realization.
I remember when I first read it.
Understand what is
Self-realization.
self-realization.
You have to accept at least theoretically.
So even the whole book of science is kind of understanding this time,
And I was like upside down, I was reading something like this, but I've always always rejected these first, and then just prove these, you realize it's the second stage. In order to assess you do have to accept these theoretical stuff. That's your main momentum track.
Yeah.
Your main thing is the highest possible thing. Like you'll never accept there's something great to do. So I just remember that being in the mindset.
And That's a big point that you mentioned, in the sense of it's huge, having to accept, because theoretically, you're like an intelligent guy, I just want to read this. Accept something. That's a huge shift.
That was the
When you make that adjustment. How far did you get before you started? Okay, right. Because I think it was a feeling right.
Still getting there.
Okay. Fair enough.
What's your biggest like, especially around the issue of like Rastafarian?
Yeah.
It's actually
Get in before it closes. You don't want to miss the game.
So I first read it like the incarnation of Christ. It was just like, I think in hindsight, it was probably was like, I was like, I'm like, cool, like, kind of had it, I was like, oh, bit together that. It just makes sense. Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice that period of life as well. Just somehow.
Have someone coming in, us to sing.
But like, only for 3 days and then came back.
There's no answer.
No, this was
Oh, you went to New York, which is kind of
very funny. That's pretty much how it's 6 months back. Me and my friend are going to France. You're going to France, you should understand, you might have yes.
We say that all the time, you go to India, or you go to my place, you go to company, because you go Agrodeli and company. And then you listen to me.
Because everyone was saying.
It's funny because I even
Right.
I spoke to an episode. I was like after it, I was like, what do you think you go? And he said it to me, he was like, no, what?
That's really inspiring.
I give you 3 more minutes, okay?
The whole year.
Heads trim.
Maybe this is a different book with the text. Yeah, it is not. It's a lot of versions.
They both have their charm. It's gonna be
सम्राट बोल रहा है उसको पाव भाजी खानी है मैं पाव भाजी बना रही हूँ फिर
Is there a lot? I think there are.
So they have really.
Guys, very good at this stuff.
Yeah, but
It's a big deal to make that, because dietitians, something to like,
I'd say I'm still working on it. The minor, that's like getting yourself settled in your intelligence.
sharpen.
Yeah.
And then you have just a smart person teaching. That's so many doubts. Was the one that I really love our journey. I appreciate
Stole the bell from the show. Education, so just get back in your seats, just move yourselves around. Now, we won't have time to get some, for you to give all, to share what you just explained, but two or three of us could perhaps just share. Perhaps it might be good if you could share what someone in your group shared. Okay? Is that all right? We'll start. Yeah.
Who was sharing that the first time you saw the Bhagavad Gita?
That's nice.
Oh, sorry, yeah, we've got to use this microphone.
Yeah, who was sharing the first time you saw the Bhagavad Gita with his grandfather?
Which group?
I don't know his name.
Your name is? Okay.
And his father had this big Bhagavad Gita, and he was wondering what is this book, and then his grandfather had this big Bhagavad Gita, and he was asking what is it, and then he explained that it's Bhagavad Gita. And that's his first recollection of coming in contact with the Bible,
Well,
which I think was the inquiry.
Yeah, thank you. Just quick, what was your immediate thoughts? Was there any whales when you read it? When you read Gita?
Like me,
Yeah.
personally, I mean, the very first time I read Bhagavad Gita, I understood the first chapter, but I was not able to go after second chapter because I couldn't resistance.
Interesting. A lot of people don't understand the first chapter. Okay, thank you. And let's go, ladies group. You could share what your neighbour shared, and then Mother Lisa, looks like you're going to share.
Really
Yeah.
didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. And then the spirit soul that stood out to her, but the rest of it, no. And Wisha, she fell asleep the first time she read it. But she had been told about it by her father. So
Okay.
the first time she came across it, it was already rather than she reading it.
It was?
Already she was told about.
Okay,
it,
okay.
father used to-
So you didn't understand it the first, but did you stick with it? Did you try to read it? Did you read through it?
Yeah.
I think, while we were sharing as well, that actually when it became interesting is that when the devotees started to speak about it, when we were going to classes, then things made sense, but just by our own reading the books.
Okay, interesting. Yes. So you mentioned when she started to hear devotees speaking about Bhagavad Gita. Let's go to the front row. Thank you. Yeah, let's get used to using this microphone for those online. And then we'll have something from devotees online as well. So get ready for that. Yes.
Next question. So I think one thing that stood out for our discussion was the idea of how Prabhupada postulates that to read initially. You want to read assuming it's true, essentially. As he mentions in the introduction.
At least theoretically.
Yeah.
Prabhupada says that in the beginning, except Krishna's God, otherwise it makes no sense.
So we were just talking about how the nature of that is interesting. When you first read the book, to have like, this is true, and then go from there.
Yeah. That was, I think I heard you explain.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's opposite to how I've been taught to understand anything philosophically.
You're supposed to, doubt everything.
Supposed to
no?
doubt everything. Once everything's been proved sufficiently, then you can accept it. But necessarily, of course, reading is upside down, considering yourself the utmost authority and everything.
Yeah.
Practical expression. So.
But you still read through it after that?
Yeah,
You read through it and you found that helped you to understand it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so Prabhupada, expert preacher. Right, let's just try to have something. We had a couple of groups online. How many groups do we have online?
We had one group and then we had two afterwards.
All right, so let's have someone online can share something. Let's hope we can hear you. If you unmute and share what you came up with yourself, also touch upon what your group members, if a spokesperson from the group, one of the groups could speak. And you're just getting used to, try and get used to this and probably be using this more, breaking into groups online. So I think a few devotees found it hard to get into a group, but we'll post something later today to make that easier for you. All right, so someone online. Someone would like to unmute and they might be speaking, we can't hear them. Just check. My speaker's not turned on. That's really. Okay, let's again online. Anyone like to just unmute and share with what your group shared and what yourself, your first experience with Bhagavad Gita? Hopefully we can hear you. Hopefully you can hear me. Just put your hands up. Me. Can you hear me? Someone say.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so go ahead. We want to hear from those online. We want you to feel part of this discussion.
So okay, Krishna.
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I was in a boarding house outside London, and a friend of mine who was a practitioner, he walked past the Soho Temple. We went shopping in Oxford Street. This is about 30 years ago, and one devotee gave him the Bhagavad Gita, and I brought it back to the boarding house, and we were playing a game. I saw it on his desk, and I'd seen my grandfather had a copy, so I said, "Oh, Bhagavad Gita is supposed to be quite interesting. Are you reading the Bhagavad Gita?" And he said, "No, I don't want it. Do you want it?" And so he gave it to me. He gave it to me, and I opened it, and I read there'd been like 10 million copies. And then I read the first bit of the problem, and it said at the end of the second page, if we make one person a devotee, then our mission will be successful. And in my head, it just sunk like, 10 million copies to get one person becoming a devotee. That's really humble. But so that got me into it. I was like, this must be something quite special. So I started doing a special version. So I started reading it slowly. I didn't understand it. I was a teenager at the time. And I'd read things like, one of the sentences and go, sort of don't care about your fruits of your labors or something, which basically meant to me that meant that I could party all day and not really revise for my exams. That's the way I read that verse. So, but that's where it started,
Yeah, thank you. Interesting. Yeah, very nice. So, yeah, Prabhupada said, yeah, very nice. Very good share. And anybody else online would like to share? Let's have one more person online.
So I can share.
Please.
So how I find out Bhagavad Gita, or I came in contact with Bhagavad Gita, is I came as a volunteer in the New Mayapur. So I mean, I was in the middle of it. So and I wanted to come closer to devotees, so I started reading it. And the first time I read it, it was not easy to read, and I didn't have much more interest. But gradually there is more and more, like, it's interesting, Bhagavad Gita, because, or every transcendental literature, because there is more and more taste. In the beginning, there is no taste, but the more we do it, the more it becomes like very, we become very addicted to it, and we see the benefit.
Right, so nice. So again, by the association of devotees, she was introduced to Bhagavad Gita. I guess she was a woofer.
Yeah.
Woofer. These are volunteers that go to different organic farms that we have, go to farming. Okay, so thank you, everyone. I'm sure it's when we first came in touch with Bhagavad Gita, it's special for everyone. So Hare Krishna, so thank you for that. Right, let's get into the rest of chapter 2 then. You can break down the rooms now. I don't know if you've done already. Yeah, they're still there here.
They're still there, but they're not open.
Okay. All right, so this here, noble duty of fighting as a Kshatriya. So we're on text, I think last week we left on text 33. But just someone could tell us what's going on, what's Krishna telling Arjuna now? What's the conversation?
Fighting is your dharma.
This particular, so we're looking at this section, well, we've already done 1, 2, or 3 verses, but you said so.
Like fighting is, it's not Arjuna, fighting is your dharma.
Failing is your dharma.
Fighting.
Fighting.
Yeah,
Good.
fighting.
Yeah, fighting is your dharma. Remember we said there's 2 types of dharma. We discussed that? Dharma, there's 2 types, according to our material conditioning and according to our spiritual life. Yeah, so because Arjuna thought that he would, by leaving the battlefield, Krishna's saying, no, you should do your duty. Yeah, something else. What's going on? Especially this, look at the title here, the duty of fighting is a Kshatriya. Yeah, that's what I'm correcting you. It's your duty to fight.
Yeah, it might have been slightly before what Krishna mentions that if you don't fulfill this, if you do fulfill this, you'll go to the heavenly planets. It's like you say, it's your dharma, as opposed to like not doing it.
It's interesting, you will see that you will enjoy the heavens.
Yeah.
If you fight. If you win, you'll enjoy the earthly kingdom. If you lose, you'll enjoy the heavens. Interesting, because today, the first verses we get into, Krishna's going to tell him the opposite at some point. Yeah. So something else. Yes.
I was thinking in the end, or recently, Arjuna surrendered to Krishna. I don't know if that was in a completely different section, but he was accepting him as his guru.
Yeah.
To give up the friendly conversations.
Yeah, that was important. I think that's one of the verses we have to learn, is it? Kapanyas dosa bachar. How'd it go? Kapanya dosa cheta yet shriyam nishitam purhu parne sisasite ham saditam mam papanam. Anyone can say the translation? Paraphrasing? Satyakabal just said it. Now I am your
disciple
of the soul.
Surrendered unto you.
But please instruct me. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, yeah, so here we're going to see, someone could read this verse here for us. Anyone could just quickly read this verse, just pop out this verse. Just a translation.
Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. Yeah, this we covered the last week, but just having a quick recap. So in other words, Arjuna's fighting is the same as a Brahmana doing sacrifice. Yeah, it's his duty. Yeah. And to not do one's duty, then one incurs sinful reactions described here. Yeah. Considering your specific duties as a Kshatriya, no better engagement for you than fighting. Yeah. On religious principles. So there's no need of hesitation. Now, we covered last week, you got your self-study questions, and I think we missed this first one. Perhaps you can correct me if I'm mistaken. So one of the self-study questions here is, why is it that the killing of animals in sacrifice is not considered an act of violence?
Which question is it?
Yeah, why is it?
The number of...
Well, the answer is there in verse 31. So
Because
just have a look at that. Unless someone could say, someone already has the answer.
Hare Krishna, because the animal will be reborn immediately in human form.
Basically, yeah, you got that. So 231, yeah, therefore killing on the battlefield on religious principles and killing, so it's given as an example, killing on the battlefield for religious principles and killing of animals, as was done in previous ages, okay, as a sacrificial, in a sacrificial fire, is not considered to be acts of violence, okay? Because because everyone is benefited by the religious principles involved. Right, so that's one of your self-study questions. And the other ones we covered, so we won't go through those. Okay. And let's read this one, text 32. This is where next verse we left off last week. Just a translation.
Oh, Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
Yeah, so happy are the Kshatriyas. Yeah? They're happy for this occasion. And that was the mood of the Kshatriyas when they was gathering for this battle. If you read in the Mahabharata, there in the gathering of the armies, they're very, very excited at this opportunity. That's what they're born to do, is to fight, and it's in their blood. So Krishna is addressing what aspect of Arjuna is he addressing here? Kshatriya, yeah. Arjuna is a Kshatriya. Yeah, so he's addressing this in Krishna is addressing this in Arjuna. Yeah. Please.
So is it that, like, in terms of dharmically, he's starting with like Varnashram Dharma and then moving up to like Bhagavan Dharma?
Yeah. So he's addressing, you heard that he's addressing Arjuna on the platform of, say, his situation in Varna and Ashram. So one aspect of Swadharma. But you're going to see today, Krishna's going to bring him to a higher level. So yeah, it's going to bring him to a higher level. Yeah.
In the process of Swadharma or Nashram Dharma, that's how the process is always, that you do it on earth as per your Varnashram, and then you go to heavenly planets, and that's how you gradually rise up. How does it changes to Bhagavad Dharma?
Well, that is the process. By doing your duty, it's called karma kanda, and this will come up in this chapter, in the rest of this chapter. And the fruits of that is elevation to the heavenly realms, etc. But that's all part of the material world, and it's all material platform. And as we know, Krishna will say, one comes back down again. So ultimately, it's futile. Ultimately, so that's why Krishna is going to bring Arjuna to a higher purpose, to a higher reason for fighting. You did it for it, yeah. So that is correct. That's the process of doing.
So the cycle of Swadharma will only break when you meet a devotee and he introduces you to Bhagavad Dharma.
If you engage in loving devotion to Krishna, yeah, then that changes. And there'll be wonderful verses that come up where Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to now act on the spiritual platform. Yeah, rise above the Vedas, which speak about the three modes of material nature, and just do your duty without considering whether we go to heaven or not. So interesting, because here he's telling him, you're going to go to heaven and enjoy it. But later, Krishna will give him more instructions, more higher instructions, Buddhi Yoga. Yeah. So 9.
What you were saying last time about Sanatana Dharma, now this is Swadharma. Where does
microphone.
Where does Swabhava interface with Swadharma? Or is it the same thing?
So Baba, that's another subject that's more spoken of in consideration to one's spiritual kind of attraction to Krishna. Yeah, that's more higher levels of devotional attainment, you know. Swabhava. Yeah.
Sanatana and Bhagavad Gita, same.
Yes, Sanatan Dharma, Bhagavat Dharma. Yeah, same thing. Yeah. All right. So Arjuna had no reason to refrain from fighting. Yeah. Why? Because he's going to enjoy kingdom. He can go. He's be elevated to the heavenly planets. So here, there's another self-study question. Swagatavam apavritam. What does that mean? Swaga means heavens. Yeah. Tavaram, doors. Is that right? Apavritam. You will attain. So, what's the meaning of Swagatavam apavritam? Yeah, you attain that the doors of the heavenly will be open. Heavenly planets will be open. Apavritam means
Apologies. What did you ask?
uncovered. Uncovered. So the doors will be to the heavenly planets will be uncovered. Yeah, you could enter. And what does Prabhupada say in the purple? He says there to become non-violent on the battlefield is the philosophy of fools. Foolish philosophy. Yeah, to become non-violent on the battlefield. Yeah. All right. So let's go. This is where we left off last week at text 33. So someone could read through this. Let's have someone online. Again, you could read this, text 33. Anyone can do?
If, however, you do not perform this religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter.
Yeah. So what did Arjuna say to the opposite of this?
According to Arjuna, that if you're gonna fight, then there will be sinful reactions.
Yeah.
But here Krishna is saying that
if you don't fight, you're going to get sinful reactions. Okay. So this verse is specifically addressing Arjuna's argument that he, by engaging in this battle, he will incur sinful reactions for killing his family members, etc. But Krishna says no, it's the opposite. Yes.
So does that mean in this context when we
Microphone.
Does that mean in this context that actually when we don't do our duties we get sinful reactions?
Yeah, to one degree or another. Yeah, we have specific duties that are laid out for us. That's why one of the most important instructions that actually comes across in Bhagavad Gita is doing your duty.
Is that like the verse about inaction, inaction,
Yeah, that's coming up. Yeah. Action and inaction. Yeah. You think what is action and what is inaction? That's described. So on the microphone is Hare Krishna.
One quick question. On
Yes.
Which is that in the age of Kali, three modes are mixed up and everything is impure. So how does one know what their duty is? Because you could be honestly performing a duty that's the wrong one.
Yeah. Well, this is the whole dilemma of Arjuna, actually. He's not clear what is his actual duty. So then he consults with Krishna. Yeah.
He at least knows that he's a Kshatriya through and
Yeah.
through, but it's not a choice whether he does it. In our case, as conditions, I'm speaking for myself in Kali Yuga, even that is not apparent. Which one are we? Ashram maybe, but one not.
Yeah. So generally, it's going to take some purification. Yeah. To things to the mess becomes a bit clear. Yeah. Then you can understand your sense of self more. And like, for instance, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's described that there's principles of basic human qualities that we need to develop first. So basically, by the process of Krishna consciousness, things will become clear to you personally. And you will find yourself attracted to a certain type of work. But presently, it may be quite confusing. But the more we can come to the mode of goodness, the more things will become clear. Yeah.
So to that point, we're incurring sin. Up until that point, you're incurring sin because you may not be doing a duty.
Not exactly, because you're just not, long as you're not if you're refraining from illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, you're following the principles of Krishna consciousness, you're free from the influence of Kali Yuga. Yeah, so long as so these are basic sattvic principles. Yeah. Yeah.
My understanding would be that sins are also at two levels. One is this level of the sinful reactions are also of two levels. One is this level where you're not doing varnashrama duties, but these are not same as breaking the regulative principle. That's way more sinful.
Yeah. As long as you stick to the principles. Good, yeah. So Prabhupada mentions that Arjuna was a famous fighter and he attained fame by fighting many great demigods. So Arjuna was fighting who? Lord Shiva was one. Yeah, when he went to the heavenly planets. Yeah. Okay, and same here. I can read this. Some people will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. So it's 34. Yeah. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only. No, consider you insignificant. Your enemies will describe you many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? You know? Okay, it says here, Lord Krishna, he was astonished at the beginning of Arjuna's uncalled for plea of for compassion. Yeah. So what did Krishna, what did he tell Arjuna about his compassion? It's befitting non-Aryans. Yeah. So that's is not for those, yeah, who are advanced in life. Yeah. So he has proved these statements. So we're speaking against Arjuna's so-called compassion. Okay. Someone could read text 38 for us. 37, excuse me. Sorry, go back. Let's go back. 37, excuse me.
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight.
Yeah, okay. So here Krishna reverses Arjuna's plan for happiness. Yeah, if you're killed on the battlefield, then you attain the heavenly planets. If you're victorious, you'll enjoy the earthly kingdom. So get up and fight. Yeah, with determination. Yeah. And number 38. Now it's going to a different subject here now, introducing a different section after this. Someone could read text 38.
Do
Go ahead.
not fight for the sake of fighting without considering the happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. And by doing so, you shall never incur sin.
Yeah. So just ask the question here. So how do you apply this in your life? What does it mean to work without considering happiness or distress, profit or loss, victory or defeat? What is that? How do you translate that?
Does it tell like the result?
If you're working in the office or you're working,
Does this mean by the result? Like we should not think of result?
in one sense, you could say that. You should not think of the result. But a bit more on this. You got the question. So how would you apply it? Was it to no consideration of happiness? Or generally, the only reason we do things is to get happy, is to become happy, isn't it? But here, Krishna's saying, yes, sorry, online, someone?
You find the sort of pleasure is doing the duty itself, rather than for the sake of, you get up and say, I'm going to work because I have to get an opportunity to work, rather than think about anything else.
Yeah, this is what Krishna is bringing Arjuna to. So it takes a little bit difficult to really comprehend and understand it from a materialistic point of view. But just to be doing your duty. You do have to have some idea of profit, especially in this world, but ultimately we are dependent upon Krishna. You had a point. Yeah. Yeah. So again, there is no consideration of happiness and distress, profit or loss, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Prabhupada says that everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna. That's really the essence of it. Everything that we do is ultimately for the pleasure of Krishna. Yeah. Yes, Satchikamani.
I was gonna say, this could be a good thing to preach to Southgate.
Preach to who?
The manager of England football team, and they're playing the.
Don't consider victory on.
I'm gonna start with that.
But there are some, we're going too far down there. You see some of them, they will pray before they kick the ball. Before they do a penalty, They pray to God. Yeah. There's other things to pray to the Lord for. They're praying to put the ball in the net. They think it's very cool.
Afterwards, they give praise to the
They what?
when they score, then they give praise to the Lord.
Yeah. So, in one sense, they're doing what he says here. They're depending on Krishna. No, what's that? I came across it recently. Again, where the Prabhupada mentioned the value of the understanding we should work very vigorously, but depend upon Krishna. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we depend upon Krishna. So this means this not working for the, not considering loss or gain or victory. Doesn't mean you're lethargic. It means you do your duty to the best of your ability, but ultimately the result is up to Krishna. Yeah.
One of the best examples of that, I think, is Prabhupada in the Jaladuta. Just when he's kind of saying he doesn't know what's going to happen once he gets in New York, but he says, "Now I'm your puppet, you make me dance."
Yeah, thank you. That's a very wonderful prayer of Prabhupada as he's coming from America. Yeah. Now, my Lord, make me dance as you like. Yeah. So he's completely dependent upon Krishna. Yeah. So, yes.
In the domain of Krishna consciousness, it's a little easier to understand. If we go on books, don't be attached to how many are when you doing the duty. But in a work life, that's how things are driven. Like the bosses will always ask, what's the key results that you brought in? What's the profits that you brought in? And you can't, it's not straightforward to have this kind of consciousness when you do your material work.
Yeah. But over and above everything, you may not express it externally, but your success or failure, you can do your best, but ultimately it's down to Krishna. Yeah. So that will give you a dispassionate detachment, even in your work situation. Because it's when we forget that and we think we're the doer of activities, when we get quite passionate, quite attached, and quite intense. But if we have this knowledge and this understanding that ultimately the result is up to Krishna. Doesn't mean you don't try. We should try our best. So that may be something, say, in a workplace that you carry internally. You have this, and then you won't get, in one sense, to help you not to get kind of fried out, because you're doing your best to your ability. So sometimes it's mistaken when we come across verses like this that we're speaking about, non-activity. No, it will come up here. Krishna wants Arjuna to fight. Because this is Arjuna's confusion. He thinks that Krishna is telling him when he says be detached, he's thinking he means go to the forest. No, Krishna is saying work, but be detached. And how can you be detached? Through Buddha yoga. Yeah, do it for a higher purpose. Yeah. And that's coming up here in the next verses, actually. Yeah. And yeah, Papa quotes a verse here in the purple to text 38. Deva Rishi Buddhaptaninam Pitrinam. I'll just quote it here. Anyone who is completely surrendered unto Krishna, Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, nor the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. Prabhupada says that is the indirect hint given by Krishna to Arjuna in this verse. And it will be more explained in the following verses. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, 11 to 30, what did we discuss there? What was this? Remember we broke up into, did that brainstorming, we broke into groups and we looked at the subject. It's up there, 11 to 30 is. So yeah, so that was, this was to remove, let me just move some, yeah. Arguments, so to remove Arjuna's arguments against fighting, Krishna first presented Gyan, yeah, the knowledge about the difference between the soul and the body, yeah. So now then the next level, Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to fight based on what we just described as gain pleasure, karma. You'll attain the heavenly planets. You obtain happiness. If you win, you'll win the earth. If you lose, you'll go to the heavenly planets. So therefore, no need to hesitate. Yeah. So it's based on what's called fruitive considerations, which also could be known as karma. Yeah. That way you can gain pleasure and you can avoid suffering.
Is that karma ganda?
Yeah, karma ganda. This is what's coming up here. Yeah. So yeah. So now Krishna instructs Arjuna to combine both. Well, do your duty with knowledge. Yeah. Use knowledge, use Gyan, and at the same time to fight with detachment. Yeah. Activity is what to do activity, karma, to fight. With knowledge. So you should do activity, but you should do it with knowledge. You follow? And the next slide will make this a bit more clear. Yep. So it's good to understand this term as we're reading Bhagavad Gita of Nishkam Karma Yoga. It will help us to be more clear in what way Krishna is instructing Arjuna. Okay. So Nishkam Karma Yoga, what does it mean in essence? Nishkam
together.
Nishkam Karma means working without attachment to the result. Yeah, you're doing the duty. So now there's two types. It has one of two levels. So that two levels of Nishkam Karma Yoga will be dependent upon your development of transcendental knowledge. Yeah. Now, someone who just has knowledge that we're not the body, okay, but they are not devotees of Krishna as such, so they perform Nishkam Karma, detached work. And now if they're just doing their duty, they won't receive, if they're doing their duty for a higher purpose, there won't be no reactions for their work because they have a sense of detachment. Their knowledge has fostered some level of detachment to the results of the work. So that's one level of Nishkam Karma Yoga, which Krishna is bringing Arjuna to. Now, there's another level if one has knowledge, but if one has knowledge of Krishna, so that's superior knowledge. Rather than I'm not just we are not this body, but we are the servants of Krishna. Yeah. So he not only knows that he is a spiritual identity different from his body, but he knows that he's Krishna's eternal servant. Yeah. That person also performs Nishkam Karma Yoga. Yeah. So he receives no reaction to the work. Because who does he offer the fruits to? Krishna. Yeah. So, and Prabhupada we'll get to read here. Now, the Nishkam Karma Yogi who aspires for Krishna's loving service is superior to someone who's just working on the basis of I am not the body. You follow? Yeah. So, yes.
How does Bhakti fit into it?
It's coming up. How does Bhakti? Yeah. Prabhupada gives a wonderful, and we'll read from the purple. Yeah. So perhaps someone could go to read from the Prabhupada in the purple brings it to the level of bhakti. Now there's a paragraph beginning, Lord Krishna now directly says. Someone could read that paragraph.
Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. There is no consideration of happiness nor distress, profit or loss, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness, that everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna in transcendental consciousness, and there is no reaction to material, so that there is no reaction to material activities. He acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. But he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is he a debtor to anyone, as one is in the ordinary course of activities.
Okay, thank you. So this is Krishna consciousness, yeah? So without considering, it's all good because Krishna wants it done, yeah? Acting according to Krishna's instruction, yeah? Without considering loss or gain, victory or defeat, yeah? That's a bhakti. That's actually devotion, yeah? And we all clear on that? It's good to keep in mind this term, Nishkam Karma Yoga, because as we're discussing Bhagavad Gita, we're going to be speaking about the yoga ladder. Yeah, there's different stages. It is one of the first stages, Nishkam Karma Yoga. Yeah. So then, what is renunciation? Yeah. Sometimes there's a lot of or what is actual renunciation. Can someone just describe, what have you heard? What is renunciation out there according to Buddhism, according to different traditions, or generally, what does it mean to be renounced?
So sometimes, like the picture, it can be inactivity.
Yeah, the picture gives it away, yeah. So I'm renounced. I'm a couch potato. I don't do anything.
Giving up material things, I think.
Giving up material things, yeah. Renounced. Renunciation. Anything else? Going to the secular world. Yeah?
Going to the forest.
Going to the forest, giving up everything, giving up all your worldly belongings. One time I was doing book distribution. I was just here, somewhere in central London, and I knocked on one flat, and I could see when he opened the door, he was a Buddhist of some type. He had a meditation thing in his room, so he invited me in. He invited me in, and he was at a stage of life where he was just folding up his whole life, and he was going to go and join a Buddhist monastery somewhere in Tibet, somewhere like that. And he had his guitar there, and he had his belongings there, and he was reflecting how it's difficult for him now, because he's thinking of his music and he's looking at his guitar. So he was sharing with me, he's made this decision, but he's struggling with it. Yeah. Because their idea of renunciation is you give up everything. So what's a way that we can preach to such a person? Yeah, Mother Lisa.
Continue to do.
Yeah.
Continue to do your activities, but do for Krishna.
Yeah,
For Krishna.
Yeah, continue to do your activities, but I should do it for Krishna. So I said, you should sing for Buddha. You should sing songs about Buddha. You should sing songs about the principles of Buddhism. There's no need to give up your guitar and your music, you know. Whether we did that or not, I don't know.
Did he take the book?
I can't remember now. If he took the book, I think he did. I think I left him with the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, it's nice. No? So, someone online had something to share. I heard a voice there. So, what's Arjuna's concept of renunciation? What's our concept of renunciation? Mother Harini. Huh? Do it. Going to the forest. Did she say that?
Yes.
No. Harini wants to go to the forest. She's had enough of Soho Street. She wants to go to the manor.
I think she means forest of Vrindavan.
The forest of Vrindavan. No, what's our spirit of renunciation?
Unattached to the results.
Give up.
Momentary actions.
Give.
Yeah, being unattached to the results of our actions.
Yeah, so being unattached. So we're renouncing not activity, yeah, but the mentality that Krishna is the enjoyer. Yeah, that's what we're renouncing. Yeah, so we're renouncing the mentality. Yeah, well, we're not renouncing life. We're just that we work for a different purpose. That's the whole point of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, that Arjuna will fight for a different purpose. So he's renounced fighting for his own pleasure. He's doing it for Krishna. And that's called renunciation. Yeah, that's called real renunciation. So also another term given is yukta vairagya. Yeah, which we're more familiar with, some devotees, means that we don't leave the world, but we engage the world in Krishna's service. Yeah, of course, there's a fine line. In the name of engaging things in Krishna's service, we may be just enjoying our senses. So it's a fine line, but that's the principle. Devotees live in cities, they live in towns, they have jobs just like everyone else. But the underlying principle is that they're devoted to Krishna and they're dependent upon Krishna ultimately for their well-being and sustenance. Yeah? And that's what Krishna is going to make very clear to Arjuna and consequently us. There's something in the chat here.
All right, Prabhu.
Please, yes. Anything online? Yes.
Russell here. So, I have a friend who's engaging in a different form of yoga, right? And I feel that he's being inevitably drawn to an attraction of inaction, of just sitting somewhere in a quiet French field, resonating the mantra Om, trying to become one with God. And yet he's doing some incredible work in the world. He's a counselor. He's helping to treat people for addiction and stuff like that. And he's a musician who creates these incredible pieces of music that kind of explain his experience of yoga, which is profound and very beautiful. But he's recently started asking me if I will go with him to kirtan sessions with Radhika Das. And even though he's inevitably attracted to this idea of kind of detaching from everything and a kind of nothingness and wanting to merge with the Brahma Jyoti, when he's with Radhika Das chanting the holy names of the Lord, you can see he's overflowing with joy and happiness and sublime feelings. But somehow he thinks that this is a distraction. And so I'm just hoping that I can like help to encourage him in this thing that he's acquired a thirst for is a far more value than sitting in a field just chanting Om, trying to become part of the Brahma Jyoti.
Yeah, yes, well said. Thank you. And that's the potency of devotees. And just by your association, you can introduce him to the chanting of the Maha Mantra. You know, especially if he's going to Kirtan and he's liking the Maha Mantra, you can advise him that he can take the Maha Mantra with you. Yeah, here's some meditation beads, you know.
I've given him some beads. I've given him a book of the higher taste. I've given him a Bhagavad Gita as it is.
Wow, sounds like his material life is about to end. Hare Krishna, well done. All glories to your preaching by your example. You know? So in other words, what is renunciation? To work, but renounce the results of work. Okay. All right. So how do you renounce the results of your work? What do you do?
Give up ownership.
Huh?
Give up ownership.
Physically or just mentally? Is that a mental thing? Oh, I just, I don't have, I renounce this money I've got. How does it manifest?
Well, it's in my business, we generate quite a lot of income, and what we, a long time ago, I realised if I wasn't careful, I'm going to be attached to that income that was coming in. So basically, I asked a couple of swamis in ISKCON, where do you need where do you need this stuff to go, really? And then they kind of gave me, and then I didn't just like blindly give it. I was eventually going, okay, that for me, that project seemed like, at the moment they're building a temple in the Philippines, but they're struggling a bit. ISKCON temple, and I sent a friend of mine, paid for a flight of a friend of mine who's initiated to go there and help, to travel and distribute books there and try and get projects going there. So there's so much to do in ISKCON that no one in ISKCON needs to be worried about getting attached to results of their labours. There's a lot to do, both money wise and both physical activity. So, you actually end up just working for Krishna. That's what happened, because you won't even care about the money. You just sort of go, okay, that project over there needs something, so I need to go and do this piece of work over here in the material world to then fund that project or get someone over there or whatever, pay for someone's travel. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm ranting. Sorry.
No, thank you for sharing that, because that was my exact point. So how do you renounce what you earn? Give it away. Give some proportion away. Maintain yourself. Maintain your situation. But as Prabhu said, there's so many different projects, But it may mean even simply as you eat prasadam. So you go shopping, you buy bhoga, with the money you've earned, then you make an offering to Krishna. So you're dovetailing your money that you've earned and you're offering it to Krishna. You understand? That's a simple way to put it. Another way as well. So your work becomes an act of devotion, because the fruits of that work is being offered to Krishna. Yeah? It may mean 5%, 10% or whatever, but some level of renounce, because you're not attached to that will give you a sense of detachment, because what will come from that, as you dovetail your work and you renounce the fruits, you give thanks to Krishna. It's also an aspect of renunciation. It's by Krishna's grace that these fruits are coming. Also, you engage it in Krishna's service. You'll find Krishna will take care of your material life. Yeah. And you will feel the reciprocation. And that will give you more faith in Krishna. Yeah. Because our fear is that if we give, we'll be lacking. But if we give to Krishna, we won't be lacking. Yeah. Krishna will provide. So in other words, I'm trying to get here that sometimes it's not just a mental thing. Oh, I'm detached from this, I'm detached from... No, if you're detached from it, you have to give it away. Some, don't worry, not all of it. You have to maintain yourself, maintain your situation, so the wife is happy, the children, that the school expenses are paid, the bills are paid, like that Mother Lisa. So
When you're with,
yeah, the microphone, thank you.
when you're maintaining yourself, if that then facilitates your sadhana, then that's a form of renunciation as well, right?
Yeah, you could say that you're maintaining your specific situation in such a way that you can dedicate yourself to Krishna conscious activities. Yeah, you're creating an ashram in your environment. Yeah. Yeah, such
I was thinking this picture on the screen there, it looks like the devotees just got back from the day out on the Sanctuary.
Yeah, that's what I think. Definitely not me on Sankirtan. I wouldn't bring anything like that back. No. I'll be lucky if I bring back £10. So we should work, but we should renounce the results of work. Yeah. For instance, Arjuna's going to work. He's going to fight like anything, but but at the end, he knows everything was Krishna. Krishna was the cause of everything. It was Krishna. It wasn't me. Krishna empowered me to do that. And that's proved at the end when he steps off the chariot and a wonderful pastime. But yeah.
Well, in relation to what you were saying, reminds me when I first came. And I went up to one devotee and I said, I see everyone that looks so happy and enthusiastic. I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere with this. He goes, when you come to the temple, what do you bring? So I said, myself. He said, why? You should bring something for Krishna. Why are you coming empty handed? At least bring some nuts or some fruit or flour.
Yeah.
Some small thing like that. So I said, okay, I'll do that next time. And he said, how now? I said, yeah, you see.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. You make it more simpler. Thank you, Nayan. It's a good point. Yeah, bring a bunch of flowers for Krishna. Yeah, for the fruits of your work. Bring something for Krishna. Bring some double cream. There's a list of things. Yeah. All right.
Really responds that's recent. I can't remember the exact thing.
So Rupa Goswami.
Didn't say giving 50%.
Prabhupada would say that. Prabhupada says that many times throughout his books. Give 50%. At least give something. 50% is like pretty good. They give 5%, 10%. Give something according to your means. My spiritual master says that Krishna is very kind because everything belongs to him. So he's letting you keep 50%. He's very kind. So Prabhupada does say that throughout his books, but practically speaking, in the world we're living in today, it's not so easy for devotees to actually come to that level. There's some are doing, but at least we should be in the spirit of giving something, even if it's not money, it's time, it's facilities, something.
But that's 50% after cost, right? So it's just from the profit. Once you have taken your needs.
Yeah, that's up for discussion. Yeah. There are some devotees are doing that. But it's not. Even my spiritual master, he doesn't. He says, say, well, give 10%, and then gradually, as you feel inspired, give more. Then, because then your life is just completely working for Krishna.
Is it right? I told you that Rupa Goswami said the reason is then you're free from the sin. Because how you're obtaining the money at banking or this or that, there's always, it's tainted.
It will help, yeah, it will help. Yeah, be connected to Krishna. There's such Kimani.
I was just going to say there was one devotee, he left his body.
Microphone.
He left his body now, but he used to say when he first met the devotees preached to him and they said, you should give half your wages to the temple. And he said that somehow or other he got that instruction and he took it on. And he said he felt better more satisfied and more peaceful living on 50% of his wages than he ever did living on his whole.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, he like that took sannyas and everything. It's the experience.
Yeah, nice. So you can see, yeah. You won't be the loser. All right, Hare Krishna. So let's go ahead. So here comes the wonderful verses. So they're all wonderful, but here some wonderful instructions now that Krishna is going to give Arjuna. So someone could read this text 39.
Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Partha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
Okay, so we discussed it somewhat. Okay, so again, 11 to 30 is about Gyan, knowledge between the difference between spirit and matter. Now, the activities of what's known as Jnana Yoga, they're very much similar to those of Shankar Yoga. So Shankya was 11 to 30. Yeah, Shankar Yoga means to analyze the details of matter. So that's in, you understand? So Krishna spoke about the soul, the constitution of the soul, how it's different from matter. So that's called Shankya. Okay, so both should bring to the same point, engage the development of knowledge, and Sankhya brings to the same point. Yeah. So in other words, one must renounce all activities. Yeah. So to practice either actually, Jnana or Sankhya, one must renounce all activities and practice meditation. But Krishna has instructed Arjuna in a different way. He was told him to work in a renounced spirit, not renounce activity. Act in a renounced spirit, but don't renounce activity. Yeah. So because Shankya generally hints at renunciation of activity. Yeah. But Krishna doesn't recommend that. Yeah. Krishna does not recommend that Arjuna renounces his activities. So that's why here he's explaining the benefits of action, not renunciation of activity. Follow? O son of Pritha, I now shall explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. Yeah. When you act in such knowledge, you'll free yourself from the bondage of works. Yeah. So not if you leave the battlefield. But Krishna is saying, no, if you act according to this knowledge, you'll be free from the results of any resultant sinful actions. Yeah. So that's why he's saying, so you should listen carefully now. Listen attentively. And you should hear how we can become free from sinful reactions. I shall tell you how to do it. Someone could read the second paragraph of this purport to 39.
Arjuna has already accepted Krishna as his spiritual master by surrendering himself onto him. Shishyas te ham sabhi bhaktavam parapapalam. Consequently, Krishna will now tell him about the working process in Bhakti Yoga or Karma Yoga, or in other words, the practice of devotional service only for the self-gratification of the Lord. This Bhakti Yoga is clearly explained in chapter 10, verses 10, as direct communication with the Lord, who is sitting as Paramatma in everyone's heart. But such communion does not take place without devotional service. One who is therefore situated in devotional or transcendental loving service to the Lord, or in other words, in Krishna consciousness, attend to this stage of Bhakti Yoga by this special grace of the Lord. The Lord says, therefore, that only to those who are always engaged in devotional service of transcendental love does he award the pure knowledge of devotion love. In that way, the devotee can reach him easily in the ever-present kingdom of God.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Rabbi. You need to turn it down, the sound. Okay, if this, I think that's Jay probably making garlands. He's put this anyway. Right, so in other words, Prabhupada is saying is mentioned about so Buddha yoga and Karma yoga may be practiced at different stages, yeah. But when Krishna blesses a devotee and inspires him with full Buddhi means intelligence, yeah, then one effortlessly becomes fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So that's called bhakti. That's called love of God. Okay. So I'm going to read text 40. So in other words, before we read, what's the benefit? This is describing the benefits of acting according to this knowledge. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Okay. So this is the benefits that one will get from working, doing activity in this knowledge. So what's the greatest fear?
Yeah.
Death. And then after that?
Yes, exactly. I was thinking going down into the lower species of mind.
Yeah, so probably lose the human form of life. Yeah. The greatest type of fear, to lose the human form of life. Yeah. Yeah, death is a big subject. It's a big you say people are obsessed with death, isn't it? Because in the sense that any films probably you watch, you're going to see 1,000 million ways how people can die. Eaten alive by insects or chopped, whatever it is, some killed by robots, killed by this or that, everyone's got a different way of killing. That's the most fearful thing. But ultimately, the most fearful thing ultimately is to lose the human form of life. So there's no loss of, is it in this one? Yeah. So what does it mean? There's no loss or diminution. Two things. There's the fear of the greatest fear. There'll be no loss or diminution. So I'm going to elaborate on that a bit more.
So adverse karma.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you basically there's two things. You don't get adverse karma, and you also diminish your existing karma, good and bad, while you're if you're going on a path of bhakti or bhakti for Krishna.
Yeah, there's no adverse karma, and you don't accumulate. Yeah, what was it? 2 points you said? No adverse again?
And you also distinguish your previous bad karma and good karma by rising enough.
Yeah, but something else here. No loss of diminution.
I'd like to say something.
Please, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, so whatever advancement we make in Krishna consciousness, it always remains, even if we fall down, or it's still be here when we come back.
Yeah, still be here when we come back. Haribol. Yeah, that's basically, there's no loss of diminution. It never goes spiritually. You may press the pause button, but you can never press the cancel button. Yeah, you'll always, whatever advancement we make, that's always there for our eternal benefit. Prabhupada calls it a spiritual bank account, And he gives an example in the purple. Anyone could see the name of from the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's see if we can see it. It's there in the purple. Ajamil, yeah. Yep. He was born a Brahmin, but then he became distracted from spiritual life. And he went astray. He really went astray. But in the end, he went back to Godhead. Yeah. The whole story unfolds that, the Yamadutas and the Vishnu Dutas came, and then he continued from exactly where he had left off. Yeah. And eventually he went back to Godhead. So no loss of diminution. Yeah. Just read here. Prabhupada says any work begun on a material plane has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished. The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss, even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%. Whereas in material activity, without the 100% success, there is no profit. Ajay will perform this duty in some percentage of Krishna consciousness, but the result he enjoyed at the end was 100% by the grace of the Lord. There's a nice verse in this connection. Then he quotes the verse, if one gives up his occupational duties and works in Krishna consciousness and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part? And what can one gain if one performs material activities perfectly? Then he quotes the Bible, whatever profiteth a man if he gains the whole world, but lose his eternal soul. Yeah. So someone may be working diligently and intently for the whole life, and at the end they lost everything. You may engage in 2 weeks of Krishna consciousness, and it's for your eternal benefit. Yeah. All right, let's stop here for 15 minutes, have a break here, 12 o'clock. Hare Krishna. So please gather again at 12:15, yeah? Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Haribol. One second. Hare Krishna, everyone online, you're back with us. Hare Krishna, let me share the screen again. The slides. You can see, we're up behind me? Yes. Okay, I just wanted to have a quick check-in. So many text 40 was 70.
Positive.
Yeah, my tendency is to stop at each verse. We'd have to perhaps move on a bit. Okay. Okay, we covered 40, isn't it?
Yeah.
41, last in this section. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Hare Krishna. Let's just continue. Going to pick up pace a little bit. Those Vyasatmaka Buddhi Eka Kurunandanaha Poshake Nandascha Buddha Yo Vivasayanam. Everyone can hear me online? Someone can say yes. Great, thank you. Krishna.
Yes.
So Krishna says to Arjuna, those who are on this path, which we just described, they're resolute in purpose and the aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched, Bahushaka. Yeah. And then yeah. So the aim is one, and Prabhupada speaks in the purport about disturbance of mind means not having a goal in life, not having a specific purpose. Yeah. Well, here Krishna is encouraging Arjuna, have this specific purpose in mind and be focused, you know. Don't be Bahushaka, which means many branched, yeah. Become fixed, yeah. And this verse is quite significant for us in one sense. This verse, for your interest, specifically inspired Srila Prabhupada. When he was studying Bhagavad Gita, he was reading the commentary of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he describes this one-pointed attention is on serving the mission of the spiritual master. So Srila Prabhupada took that to heart in his service to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, yeah, for spreading Krishna consciousness. And as we know, it became the life and soul of Srila Prabhupada. So this verse was specifically very inspiring for Prabhupada, you know. This one here, Vyasatmaka Buddhi. Yeah. The instructions of my spiritual master are my life and soul. Okay. So now here the opulences that's offered by the Vedas, the Karma Kanda. Now Krishna will bring this in. Yeah. And again, he's going to be preaching opposite to what he earlier preached to Arjuna about going to the heavens. Now he's going to preach against it. Okay. So someone could read this verse for us. Just read the translation.
Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Veda, which recommend various creative activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being issues of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this.
Yeah. So this is the first time that Krishna's mentioned the Vedas. Yeah. And he tells him to not be attracted to the flowery words of the Vedas, which are offering heavenly planets results, karma kanda. Yeah. Yeah, the idea of using the Vedas, this is called karma kanda, sacrifices aimed at various demigods for temporary fruits. Yeah. Health, power, wealth, longevity, etc. I can't see what I mean.
This, could we say this is a good verse for Gyani's property, in the sense that I think some people, they don't accept Bhagavad Gita so much, they like Greek Veda, all this kind of stuff. Then we can show this to them.
Gyanis?
To some Gyanis, because there's certain type of people, they don't even give so much emphasis on Bhagavad Gita, they're like, no, Greek Veda, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you could quote this. Why not? Yeah. Here, okay, someone could read this, text 44.
Right.
Microphone. Who's got the microphone?
The minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotion service to the Supreme Lord does not take place.
Yeah, Prabhupada gives a small purple. He speaks about samadhi here. Samadhi means having fixed mind. When the mind is fixed for understanding the self, it is said to be in samadhi. Yeah. So samadhi is not possible for persons interested in material sense enjoyments, but bewildered by such things. They're more or less condemned by the process of the material energy. Yeah. So in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and to opulences, now bewildered, the resolute determination for devotional service does not take place. Okay. And this here, someone can read 45. Just.
Sorry, we have to learn we have to learn 2.44, don't we? Is that the one we have to learn?
Sorry, didn't hear that.
We have to learn 2.44. Is that right?
All right, that's that's one of the verses we have to learn. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Well done. Thank you. Okay, read this one. The Vedas deal mainly of the subject matter, the three modes of material nature, O Arjuna. Become transcendental to these three modes and free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. So see what Krishna is trying to instruct Arjuna? He's bringing him up. Yeah, before he's instructing him on the basis of he's being a Kshatriya. Now he's bringing him above that. Yeah. Don't be free, don't be situated in the self, in your identity as a spirit soul. Yeah. Don't worry about gain or safety, you see. Yeah. So he should be, so rather than be interested in saying, of course, he's speaking in generally to everyone. Arjuna is a devotee, but in order to don't fight for the gaining the heavens, just be established in self-realization. Yeah. Yeah. And here it says Arjuna previously reasoned that destroying the family traditions would end the performance of karma kanda rituals. You follow? Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Krishna now defeats that argument by telling Arjuna to rise above those rituals because they're contaminated by the modes of material nature. Yeah. Follows Kanda. Kanda means path. Path. Yeah. Path for fruitive work. Yeah.
What are the three modes? Three modes of material nature.
Three modes of material nature, you don't know?
Ignorance, passion.
Ignorance, passion, and goodness. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Contaminated by that's chapter 14. You will study that. Chapter 14 and onwards, it describes about three modes. Yeah.
There's a question there in the chat as well.
Please, yeah, you can tell us what that question is.
What is he asking?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I wanted to understand what does the word self mean here? Is it the individual soul self, or is it the capital S self, meaning the Lord?
Could be both, could be taken in both terms. Self-realization means to understand the self as the eternal servant of Krishna. But generally here specifically mean that he should be established in this consciousness of complete dependence upon Krishna as Krishna's servant, acting under Krishna's direction. Yeah. He should be established in self-realization. So remember those two different aspects of Nishkama Karma Yoga. One is one who understands they're not the body, but one who understands that not only they're not the body, but they're the servant of Krishna. That is ultimately what it means to be established in the self.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. And now, and this, I read this here, it's from the purple. As long as the material body exists, there are actions and reactions in the material modes. One has to learn to tolerate in the face of dualities such as happiness and distress, cold and warmth. By tolerating such dualities, become free from anxieties for gain and loss. The transcendental disposition is achieved in full Krishna consciousness when one is fully dependent upon the good will of Krishna. Okay. Now Krishna's going to conclude. Well, excuse me. Now in text 46, he's going to conclude this argument. Yeah. Someone could read this. 46 should be behind me.
All purposes served by a small well may once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
Yeah, what's the purpose behind the Vedas? A bit more. Krishna, yeah. Krishna compiled the Vedas, and ultimately he's the know of the Vedas, and the Vedas are supposed to bring one to Krishna. So that's the ultimate purpose of the Vedas. Yeah, and this is a nice example. Just like in India, you might see there'd be a village well. There'd be 2 or 3 wells in a village. Sometimes it was seen that one well would be used for the clothes, one well would be used for the pots, one well would be used for drinking water. Yeah. But if you go to a river, you can wash your clothes. It's down here. You can get drinking water. Yeah, you can wash the pots. Yeah. So everything is taken care of in the river. Yeah. So similarly, all the purpose of the Vedas can be served by one who knows the purpose behind them, what they actually bringing you to. Yeah. So establishing the self as the eternal servant of Krishna. This is what Krishna is instructing Arjuna. Yeah. Don't worry about profit or loss, fame or victory or defeat, fame, etc. So he's bringing him to a higher level, isn't it? We see again and again, we're mentioning this. Before he was telling him, if you don't fight, you'll be ridiculed, everyone will, make jokes about you. But now he's saying, be detached from all of that. Yeah. Act above them. Even the Vedas were still made of the three modes. So you could say this is Bhagavad Dharma. Yeah. So he's bringing Arjuna to this platform. Yeah. In order to fight. You follow everyone?
In in 15.15, Krishna says he makes the Vedas as part of the prison house, part of the reformation of the material prison house.
Yeah, what's the name of that chapter? Nature Enjoying Consciousness? Chapter 15.
Nature Enjoy 15, Nature Enjoying Consciousness.
Yeah.
It's I'm in the heart, Sarvasya Hiridishya.
Yeah.
It's the clause,
Because Vedas speak about living in the material world. It's good to follow Veda, but ultimately it's about being in the material world. So then you have the Upanishads, which speak in more about transcendence. Yeah. Atato Brahma Jignasa. Hopefully at some point you realize there's more to life than just karma kanda, begin to inquire about the actual purpose, meaning, yeah.
So someone's like a member of the Vedanta school or like Vedanta is they're studying karma kanda or something with the Upanishads.
Yeah, generally Vedanta, if someone's studying Vedanta, generally it's going to be an impersonal understanding of Vedanta. If you the Veda society, generally they're going to be teaching something impersonal, you're going to find, Yeah. Even if they teach the Upanishads, it won't bring them, they won't teach to the point of being eternal servant of Krishna. You are one and you are one with everything, and etc. etc. At least that's my experience of those Vedic societies, Anyone had that experience? Those transcendental knowledge, so kind of generally it's going to be an impersonal conclusion.
Normally people can't let go of that final false ego. That's why they enjoy those Vedic sort of impersonal discussions of Vedas. That's just the final bit of a...
Yeah, any identity of the self is considered to be false. If you consider yourself an individual, that's false. Yeah, but we consider we are not this body. Yeah, that's what's false. False is not that you identify as a soul. That's what they say. If you identify the soul, that's a designation, because you are Brahman. Anyway, what? Describe it too much. We don't.
That's defeating, right? Because earlier we spoke about that in Brahmati,
Bhagavan said, yeah. Also, what did Krishna say? Also, we read a very significant verse earlier on. Just give the first word, never. Never was a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Yeah. All right. So. Yeah. Yeah, Prabhupada mentions it's not possible to follow all the rules and regulations of Vedic rituals, not possible to study all the Vedas and the Upanishads, requires much energy and knowledge and resource to execute the purpose of all the Vedas. Especially in this age, it's very difficult. But the Vedic culture is served by, what is Prabhupada going to say? By chanting the holy name of the Lord, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, the deliverer of all fallen souls. So that will, ultimate purpose of all the Vedas is Krishna, and practically speaking, that's manifest in chanting of the holy name. Then Prabhupada speaks about Lord Chaitanya speaking with the great Vedic scholar Prakasananda Saraswati. Anyone knows that story with Prakasananda Saraswati? Someone could just recite that in a synopsis form. Microphone. Yeah, microphone man.
This is when Lord Chaitanya came to the assembly of the sannyasis. So basically,
Yeah, speak up a bit so everyone here can hear as well, not just online.
yeah, essentially, Lord Chaitanya, he was in Varanasi, and the Mayavadi sannyasis at about Nami Saraswati, they felt that, he wasn't performing the proper duties of a sannyas. He was chanting and dancing and working, reading the Danta, and, discussing the Danta, and more important, more prominently, he hadn't come to see any of the other sannyasis, he wasn't associated with them.
Yeah.
And so they requested his presence. They wanted to speak to him about Vedanta and find out what his situation was. And Lord Chaitanya came before them in the assembly, and very humbly he stood on the lower platform where people would generally wash their feet. And he was so effulgent that he actually presented his effulgence, his speech of Brahmajyoti. So he was glowing like this, and the sannyasis are very much affected by this. I thought it was something very astonishing.
Yeah, make it big.
They can understand that he was actually Krishna or the Supreme. It's a very special person.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they started to respect him and became his followers.
Yeah. And he was saying, Prakasananda was, yes, so Lord Chaitanya said that my spiritual master considered me a fool. He says, you just chant Hare Krishna. Chant the holy name. Yeah. He wasn't studying Vedas, So the essence of all the Vedas is Krishna. So in practically speaking, Prabhupada brings this out in the purple, chanting the holy name. Okay? Oh, it's gone again. Hare Krishna. Right. Okay, we're doing okay. We're moving to text 47 to 53. Please, yeah, go ahead.
What does self mean here? Is it self dharma or self with a capital S?
We answered that, no? Yeah, he answered that. He asked it. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, work free from attachment to results. There's an important verse here. Someone could read this one, and we'll bring up 48 as well. Just read the translation.
I can do, Prabhu.
Go ahead.
You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. 48. Perform your duty.
All right, go ahead. Go on.
O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga.
Yeah. So this is again, Krishna is instructing him in Nishkam Kama Yoga, Kamani Vikarasti Matphaleshu Kachanaha. Yeah. You have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but don't be entitled to the fruits of action. And it takes it further. Don't consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities. Yeah. So in other words, the concept of duty, so dispassionate, proper actions, dispassionate, proper actions has its own reward. Yeah. So the difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult. One sec, difficult for people to grasp this because they're just working for results. But here, Krishna's encouraging Arjuna just to engage in your activity, but don't be attached to results. Leave the results up to me. Yeah. Sorry, that's something. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if maybe you can correct me, but the bit about the cause of the results of your activities.
Yeah.
The way I was explaining that is, if you imagine I'm a footballer preparing for a final of the World Cup, and obviously there's my team, there's 11 players, and there's 11 players on the other side, right? Krishna has got to balance all the previous karmas of the other team and my team. So it shouldn't be too concerning of what the result of those karmas would be, because both sides prepare. So I shouldn't be too obsessed about ultimately whether I should win or lose. Just do my best in training and turn up and do the best on the day, basically. Is that a good way of kind of?
Yeah, it's interesting that when they present this in India, normally the sport they use is cricket. And now we're using sport. Yeah, you could say that. Don't worry, team. You just do your goddamn best. You just depend upon the law. Yeah, you could look at it like that. Yeah. What does it mean? Let's just I've got to stand. What does it mean? What kind of type of thing? If you're working, how will it help this knowledge? So you've got a family, you've got a mortgage, you've got the stress of the world. How will it change your concept? Will it change? Yes, please.
Relieve some of the stress, because you know that no matter what you do, what's going to happen is not down to what you do.
Yeah, you leave some of the there's a lot of stress out there. So why are people stressed?
Maybe thinking of the future.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stress because uncertainty is it's an uncertain world. So the knowledge that Krishna is giving here is going to help us to live in this world, to do our duty, at the same time to understand that everything is in control of Krishna. Yeah. So
I think you're going to get too attached to results. So they want something to happen. And then
you're too attached to results of people. I remember many years ago, I had the service of going to the vegetable market to buy vegetables for the vagina bar. You know, and one time I got to the wholesale place. We had to stop off at another wholesale place called Booker's. Had to stop there, and the place opened I think 6 o'clock. You know, for people. And we got there at like 5:55 or something, 5:55, and it struck 6 o'clock, and no one was opening the door. There was a man who was waiting there. He started kicking the door. Kick, smash. He was swearing and swearing. It's like kicking the door for them to open the door so he could get in there. So why is that?
Because his customers were waiting.
No, he was the customer.
But it's because it's a wholesale.
Yeah, because he's waiting because money. It's attached as I get the stuff from here. I'm going to go open my shop and I got to sell the stuff. You know, and here's I come to get some stuff for Krishna, and I was waiting in the van chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Went to open the door. That's just a small example, but people with a lot of this stress and anxiety in the world. Sorry.
Stress comes from thinking you're the controller. That's the problem.
Yeah, stress comes from thinking that you are in control. Ultimately, Krishna's in control. So this is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. I'm in control of this. I've organized this battle. It's all, it's going to happen. He will tell him with or without you. Yeah, it is going to happen. So what can you do? You have the verse again, the first. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty. That's it. Never be attached. You're not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities. Never be attached to not doing your duties. Perform your duty equipoise Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. So it's quite Arjuna's fighting to what? To win. But Krishna's telling him something else here. Fight because I want you to win. Because I've arranged it. Well, at least you have it.
Yeah, sorry. Never be attached. Never be attached to not doing your duty. What exactly is happening?
It means exactly what it says. Arjuna, don't go away. You don't leave this battlefield. Don't be attached to not doing your duty. You have a duty to perform. Yeah?
Because the word attached,
Yeah, he says it don't be basically don't be attached to your misconceptions.
Okay.
Yeah, don't be attached. Yeah, don't be never be attached to not doing your duty. It's wrong. We should be attached to doing our duties. Yeah, don't be. You understand? Yeah. So, let's see if this can got to stand up a bit. What about mine? Yeah, here. Someone can read this one. If you can see.
O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devoted service, and in that consciousness surrender to the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers.
Misers. That's what I had in mind when I was describing that scene that we saw at the market, like misers, you know. So yeah, again, abandon all abominable activities far distant by devotional service. Buddhi yoga. In that conscious, now he's bringing in surrender to the Lord. Yeah, he's bringing in now more principles of bhakti. Yeah, just give yourself over to my instructions. He mentions in the second person here, the Lord. He is the Lord. That will come out in latter chapters. Yeah, where he will reveal that. He's saying you should act on this principle. Yeah. So don't become a miser. Well, so it's a higher purpose in life, yeah? It's not a lower purpose. A person's a very miser, very attached materially. Very attached. Should work for a higher purpose. Yeah.
Is that because of lack of higher taste and aware of the higher purpose?
You could say that, yeah. Because from this, it's a good point you mentioned, because from this, one will become completely peaceful and satisfied. Because you're dependent on Krishna. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why Arjuna could perform so well as well when he actually fights. Yeah.
Because you're curious, sometimes Prabhupada says that Krishna addresses Arjuna with different names.
Yeah.
And it's significant, the
Yeah.
name that he uses, and he's in that verse there,
Sorry,
he's
do it
calling
for-
him Dhananjaya.
And that means the winner of riches.
Riches, yeah.
Yeah.
What? Winner of riches.
Winner of riches. Yeah.
So
So why is he using that name? I'll ask you.
yeah, that's why I was curious if it's significant in this verse. Whether...
Yeah. I can look, let me go back. How could it be significant in that verse?
Does it mean Arjuna is destined to win?
Could be, yeah. It doesn't say here, so we could.
He already said that he was gonna win no matter what.
Yeah,
Because
Dhananjaya.
You're gonna have the kingdom of the earth, or you're going to go to.
Yeah, he's encouraging Arjuna. Yeah, you are the winner. You are the winner of great wealth. He's encouraging you. Let's say, Dhananjaya. Yeah.
Arjuna's not attached. He brings the wealth for the yajna without using it for himself.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, as well. Yeah. All right, let's read these two verses. Someone could go ahead from here. Rachel, we need the microphone. You could read one verse, just read this verse, will you?
A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad actions, even in his life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the
Yeah, so that's the art of work, yeah? Wherever you work, what's the art of work? Because you have to work. The art of work, again, is working with attachment. Yeah, the art of work, yeah. So that's, you can read next. Let's see it from you, sir.
By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the influence of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state of miseries. They're going back to love.
All right. This is how to move in this world. This is how to exist in this world. And this is the result. Yeah. free from the cycle of birth and death, and attain the state beyond all miseries. Pop was there by going back to God. Okay. Okay. I can read this one. But someone online, they could read text 52 and 53 coming up here.
I can read.
Yeah, go ahead.
When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. 53. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness.
Okay. So this is some of the fruits Krishna's mentioning here. Yeah. You will become indifferent. What does indifferent mean? It means whatever someone may say on the material platform, you're fixed in your purpose. Yeah. Indifferent. Yeah. Again, it's going back to the flowery language of the Vedas, which recommends heavenly planets, etc. You become no longer disturbed or attracted to that. You know?
Can you say that Arjuna was confused because of the Vedas?
Yeah, because he was quoting Dharma Sastras.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I engage in this warfare, what's going to happen to me? Yeah. Remember, he said, I will go to hell. Yeah. It means I won't go to, let alone a high. So yeah, don't be fixed. Yeah.
No, I was just thinking, I don't know if it's meant like that, but what I can hear in the verse there is that Krishna's using the language about coming out of the forest, because Arjuna's attached to going to the forest, and Krishna's saying, no, when you come out of the dense forest.
Yeah. You could say that. You should write commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. But it could say, what's another example of dense forest? How can you explain it? Material world, no? Material world. Like a dense forest. You see a forest, you go into a park and there's a forest. But just dealing with people, dealing with situations, dealing with this world, and the confusion you get in, isn't it? It's like going into a forest. Like really going to the dark forest. Even in the Bhagavatam, there's a chapter that equates material life with a forest. I think describes those insects which bite you on the back. Which bite you like envious persons speaking about you behind your back, and the forest of material enjoyment. So you could, so no longer be disturbed by. So Arjuna has been asked not to be disturbed by the flowery words of the Vedas. Or we could don't be disturbed when your parents tell you to stop going to the temple. Maybe, but don't be disturbed by what they say about your devotional activities. Don't be disturbed, be fixed in your purpose, You're going to chant Hare Krishna. Maybe so many people, so many disturbances. So the lesson from this, we should be like Arjuna, be fixed in purpose. Yeah. Remember when I first joined Krishna consciousness, my parents definitely weren't very favorable. But I was associating with devotees in one sense that had too much fixed in purpose, Eventually they came round. So now nature one in transcendence. See what comes in. Doing well, a few tired faces, Hare Krishna. You're doing okay? Hare Krishna, put your arms in the air, say Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, 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 Hare
Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram.
Once more.
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Ram,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Rama, Hare Rama,
Ram,
Rama
Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Bol.
Right, here, text 54, Krishna, Arjuna's, now he's become very curious. What does that look like? You mentioned all these things being free from the dualities of the world, being fixed in the concept of self, not being, what does it look like? So he asks these questions here. Oh no, yes, what is it, 54? Someone could read 50, let's just go on, 55. Okay, someone can read 55. Someone can read 54 for us.
Can you
please.
go back to the previous slide, Prabhu, quickly?
Yeah, someone could read, yeah, it's here, excuse me, I've gone too far forward. Nature, someone could read text 54 for us. I didn't put it up on the slide.
I can read. Arjuna
Please.
said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk?
Yeah, but it's not exactly asking what type of chair does he sit on. Does he walk like this? How does he carry himself in the material? What is it? What does that person look like? You know, how does he? What is? And then now Krishna answers these questions. How there's and this is where this is where he answers these questions. It goes all the way to the end, text 71. Yeah, he'll be addressing these questions. Okay, how does he react to others dealing with himself? Yeah, how is he situated in his environment? How does he engage his senses and perform duties? So that's the equivalent. Speech. How does he react to others dealing when someone comes to you and has a go at you and gets on your case? How do you react back? Do you give the same back? Or are you kind of detached? Yeah? Yeah. How is he situated in his place? This is self-realization. This is someone who's advanced. Yeah. They are not, Mr. Prabhupada says they do not quiver. Yeah. Whatever situation they're in, they remain fixed. So verse as well. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver. So someone who's fixed on the self doesn't waver in different material situations. Yeah. So let's go get into some of that now. Okay, so can we text 55? Yes, Mother.
Just a question on the self-study questions, and it was what's the meaning of pravya? I can see that here there's the meaning of shita pravyas here, but not pravya.
Okay, this is a self-study question. Yeah, what's the question exactly?
What's the meaning of pravya?
Pragya.
So
yeah.
if you have the meaning of shita pravyas,
Stita pragya. What does it mean? You can look in the.
Shita pravyas, I mean, of one who is situated in Krishna consciousness,
Yeah.
but pravya, I don't know.
So that's the answer.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah, one who's situated in Krishna consciousness. Yes. Yeah, I'm standing up here, so I'm not looking in detail of my notes. Okay. But if you have access to self-study questions, Mother Hui, you have access. So can you do us a favor? I did this before. It works better for me like that. As we're going through, when we get to a self-study question in a particular purple, if you could raise your hand and we'll look at it, yeah? And we'll cover it, yeah? Okay. So I can read to you this one. Oh, Pata, so when a man gives up all varieties of desires for sense gratification, and where do they come from? From mental concoction. And when his mind thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, he's said to be pure transcendental consciousness. Yeah, such a nice verse. Yeah. one who gives up all varieties of desires for sense gratification, situated in the self, finds full that's where we're going to find full satisfaction. Yeah? This is what he's telling our Guru. Okay. Yeah. Give the translation. Someone could read 58 for us.
There was 56 and 57.
Okay, do 56, 57. Did we do 56, 57? Okay. Yeah, these two slides I had a bit of trouble with last trying to. Someone could read 56, 57.
I can read if no one
Please.
else is available. Okay. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. 57. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge.
Okay, does that sound attractive?
Yes.
Not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries. Quickly, what's the threefold miseries? Adhyatmic, which is?
Miseries, mind doesn't.
Mind
and senses.
Mind, sense, body as well?
Mind and, yeah, they still feel physical body.
Yeah, adhyatmic, the other one is? Adigotika, that's miseries rising from other Buddhas, from other living beings. Yeah. Everyone else. And then we have the Adidevaka, which means, yeah, natural catastrophes. So quite a statement there, being freed, even in the midst of all of that, one isn't disturbed, you know? Threefold miseries. Again, this thing of happiness comes. Who is equipoised even when there is happiness? Remember we mentioned that last week? What does that mean to be detached from happiness? Sometimes due to karma, things will come our way, but then we may forget our spiritual practices, you know? So stay equipoised. All right. So that's 58. Someone can read 58 for us.
One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise withdraws his limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness.
Nice example of koma avigna koma, shell, yeah? I was okay with that. That's what we have to learn to do. Outside the door there, Oxford Street, there's so much there for you to look at and to follow with your mind and senses. Yeah. When you walk in a shop, they're playing music, and it's an old song. There's so much there, you know, whatever it may be. When you're moving in this, so we have to learn the ability to. It's kind of subtle to withdraw, you know, and keep focused on our Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Not so easy. Sometimes when I walk in the shop, sometimes they're playing a song I used to listen to so much before I joined Krishna consciousness. And the song goes, and I hear the song, then I remember the place where I used to listen to the song. Then when I remember the place, I remember the people. When I remember the people, I remember the things I used to do. We have to withdraw, learn to keep the meditation on Krishna, you know, because I think it describes one of the roaming senses can take us away. Yeah? That's why Krishna consciousness in the beginning stages, we have to be a little bit careful of who and what we expose ourselves to. But this is what's due, because we are going to be attracted. It's nature of the senses to be attracted to the sense objects. But what do you do with your mind? Do you bring the senses back under control? Yeah, like a tortoise withdraws its. Yes, Manohara.
I have on the point that you say at the beginning stage, we should be careful to not expose ourselves.
As much as possible, yeah, to our old influences.
So
Not on
Sometimes
attachments.
the preaching purposes in the preaching center, for example, sometimes we are more exposed in those kind of situations. So would you say that we not at the beginning stage we should like try to reduce this maybe environments because one person cannot be that strong and one who is more strong in preaching purposes and can then expose himself.
Yeah, so we have to be honest with ourselves. Like, for example, this weekend or this weekend, Glastonbury is happening. You heard of Glastonbury? Now, there's some devotees, it probably wouldn't be a good idea for them to go. They might not come back. So we have to understand their level, a level. I remember we used to do, we should do the pubs. Remember that, Sachinimaya, perhaps here, after the end of the marathon, we used to go around the pubs on New Year's Eve. Like the worst time, like, gosh, pubs there, And so we don't want to we want to protect our spiritual life, So there's some preaching things which we may, like Glastonbury, some devotees probably would be best if they go. Because they find it they'd be too attracted to all the different types of people and all what's going on there. Did that answer your question, Harini? So
Yes.
Yeah, we have to you have to keep this in mind, There's some devotees can move anywhere and everywhere. Like Mahavishnu Swami, is he going to have any problems when he goes to Glastonbury? No. Oh, wait. He's going to be lost in the holy name. But for others, they might start listening to the rave music and rap music. Think of the whole things. Yes.
Krishna also says that I provide what you lack and I protect what you have. So I think there's one example where someone was complaining they don't want to go on books because there's too many, one brahmachari, there's too many matters using that. And the point was made to them that more guys are falling down in the temples than outside because you're protected when you're going.
Yeah, that's there as well. There is a certain amount of protection that if you engage in the sanctum mission of the Lord, I've experienced that for years doing book distribution. My only conclusion, I'm still here now because the Lord protected me. So thank you for bringing it out, man. So there is that as well, but it's a bit of a fine line we have to choose, Yeah. Okay, 59. This is a well-known verse. So this is how we're going to do this. How we're going to be able to withdraw like a tortoise. It's 59. Someone could read this first. Yes, Richard, please.
Though the embodied soul may be restricted with sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains, but seizing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in consciousness.
Yeah, everyone heard that? Everyone's followed that verse? Yeah? Yeah. Just read it once more, nice and loud. Shout.
Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains, but seizing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in consciousness.
Okay, so very important verse. So taste for sense subjects remains, but your karma, you make that decision. Yeah. And you can do that if you're experiencing happiness, joy, and bliss in your practice of Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Vishaya nivatam de nirishite navasho rajam vashopyascha param drishta nivatate. The body's soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment. Now, beginning stages, although the taste remains, but you'll get a sense of deeper satisfaction will come from restraining your senses that you could ever imagine, ever happiness you ever experience by engaging your senses. Yeah. So much peace will come. And from peace, Krishna describes, from peace will come happiness. Yeah. You understand? So if we just have to lead a regulated life, as we do, we try to be Krishna Prashadam, etc. Follow the principles of Krishna consciousness, and you'll feel more happy than you would ever felt by just following the dictates of the senses. Yeah. Please.
Yeah. just to comment, I mean, sometimes people forget that senses doesn't just mean alcohol or women. It means things that the subtle body likes, like fame, or someone in the room didn't think I was important, or I've been left out, or this kind of sort of self-obsessed kind of pride, and objects of pride. That can be other things as well.
Thank you, very nice. It's the subtle things as well. The gross and subtle. Yeah, thank you for bringing that out. So someone can read text 60.
The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind, even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them.
Okay, warning here. Okay, warning. Having said that, Krishna's reminding us, even one of the worldly senses. As I mentioned when I hear music, one of this the ear. One of the worldly senses can take away man's intelligence, So any questions on that? Comments?
No.
Good instruction, huh? Yes.
So just on the previous note of happiness, it's a different happiness compared to that which is a result of karma, right?
Yeah, this is the happiness that comes from within. Yeah, Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Krishna Navata did. This is what ultimately will keep us. Okay, what you bring the senses, you bring the senses like the taught us. But the best way is when you're getting a high, you're just not attracted. There's no attraction for you anymore. Yeah. I've experienced that. Sorry, keeping personal examples, but I used to be involved in a particular type of fashion when I was a young teenager. Sometimes I see people following that fashion, but I have no attraction, honestly. I'm not attracted anymore. I just don't want to go there. I've lost my attraction to it. I won't tell you what. No. I was a mod. I was a driving scooter. And I can know the sound of a scooter from a mile away. I can hear it. Yeah. But now he doesn't do anything for me. Honestly. So yes, 9.
For verse 60 is the only solution, sadhu sangha.
Yeah, someone could read 60 for us to read them.
60?
Yeah, go
on. The senses are so strong and infectious, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them.
So is the only solution sadhu sangha?
Is the only solution sadhu sangha? What do we say?
It's one of the solutions.
I would say, yeah. So the only solution, one sense is associating those that, sorry, myself an example again. When I was reading Bhagavad Gita, I thought it was far out, amazing. And I read another book, The Science of Self-Realization. Then I read The Lifestyle of a Devotee. And it said the 4 regulative principles. I thought, oh, great. That's impossible. These people are space. I mean, I've never met someone in my life who's following these principles. None of my friends even knew that no one would follow these principles. We used to take, people who didn't drink, they used to be a laughing stock. And I thought, there's no way I can follow this. And so the philosophy was great. When I read about the principles of Krishna consciousness, I thought, oh, great. There's no one here on planet Earth is following like this. It can't be possible. Then I came to the temple and I started to associate with sadhus who were following it. And then I got the, oh yeah, it's possible. At least from my experience. You cannot do it on your own. You have to see those who are following. Then you get inspiration. Yeah. Any other comments on that? Yes.
What was your question, Diane?
So
Is
is
the
it
only
possible?
way sadhu sangha?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's going in 3, right? So first is withdraw, then it's get a higher taste, but then the warning is that it's so strong. So if it's so strong, what can you do? You can't do it by yourself.
You have to be, you have to have sadhu sangha. It's a good point you're bringing up, man. Yeah, no, really.
So you see that for people who's trying to practice Krishna consciousness and they don't have sadhu sangha, like they live with their family and they go to uni. So would you say that it's a very difficult environment?
It will be difficult, but with the association of devotees, a phone call, a text message, something like there's one person I'm cultivating now. He's just come to Krishna consciousness. He's 43. He has a wife, and he's very excited about Krishna consciousness. Very excited. So I'm giving him. I'm in touch with him. You know. So I'm reaching out to him. You know, and he's chanting one round a day like that. So again, by the touch with the Vaishnava community, even if in that situation it's possible, you know, it's not impossible. You know? If they have association devotees, it becomes a lot easier. Okay, so that's the.
So is Vani enough or Bhakti?
Is Vani, so Vani means instructions. Yeah, so you could say both are needed, isn't it? Vani and Bhakti. Yeah, Vani can really inspire someone. They're reading Prabhupada's books and they're really like this person who's just taken to Krishna consciousness. He's been reading for about a year Prabhupada's books, but now he's associated with devotees. You know? So both play an important role. Yeah.
Sorry, what was it? Was it Bhakti you said that?
Oh yeah, Vapu means the personal association. It's normally spoken of in contact with the spiritual master. You have the instructions of the spiritual master, which is Vani. Then you have the personal association. Of the two, in regards to spiritual master, which one's the most important?
Vani.
Vani. Because the spiritual master, at one point, he's going to go back to bed. So then you have his instructions. Okay. So let's move on a bit. 61. I could read 61. Is it here? Let's see it.
One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence.
Okay, we have a sub-study question here. What's that?
So it is saying that who is the example of Manohara given in this verse?
Yeah, now in the purport it speaks about Maharaj
King Ambarisha.
Ambarisha. So he is a Madhara devotee. Savai Madha Krishna Pada Vindayo Vitasvakunta Gunana Vamane. Is it he lists the verses describing Maharaj Ambarisha? So someone tell us about Maharaj Ambarish. Savai Madha Krishna Pada Vindayo Vitasvakunta Gunana Vamane Hari Mande Majana Deshu Kodaye. He basically engaged all these senses in devotional service to the Lord. His hands in cleaning the temple, his eyes in seeing the deity, his tongue in tasting the remnants of the food, sense of smelling the flowers offered to the Lord. Yeah, his sense of touch and embracing the devotees of the Lord. Yeah. So Madhara. So one who restrains his senses. Fixed conscious upon me is known to be a man of steady intelligence. So this is something we're being asked to do. We're being asked to do this if we want to be Krishna conscious. Yeah. This is what is required. Yeah.
No, I was just thinking, Maharaj Ambarish, is that the one like
Vasamuni.
really got offended or something?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Vasamuni. Yes,
Krishna refers to himself as me in this verse, and he's gone from third person to.
Yeah, he will do that throughout the Gita.
Why?
Yes, just like because he would speak from his position of being the Supreme Lord. Yeah, just like I heard the example of someone, say you got a CEO, and he's speaking to his people at work. So he will speak in a sense of how they should behave to a CEO. Yeah, how should they behave towards the boss? So he would take himself out. What's it called? The second person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third person.
Person. I always get switched up. Yeah. So he'd step outside of that role and speak to someone in that role. So Krishna speaks the same way to Arjuna. Later he'll be more specific about him being God.
Because he is the only Supreme Lord, then
yeah. He could say that all the time, yeah. But he's speaking in, because Krishna is also Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavad Gita is there to attract all different classes of people, all different classes of transcendentalists. It's there to attract them. So sometimes we will speak in that sense, for them to follow the principles of divinity and the divine, because they might not accept Krishna. So he wants to attract them to these principles of bhakti. But later he will give more confidential, will become more explicit of who he is when they're ready for it. That comes later. 62. These are important verses. These are warning verses of how to go down. Okay?
These the 8 stages of spiritual fall down in English from Sanskrit.
Say again?
This the 8 stages of spiritual fall down in English from Sanskrit.
Okay, so hear that? We have to list the 8 stages of fall down, so to speak. So here they are. Okay, someone could read text 62. By contemplating, is it begin? Sebastian.
By contemplating the objects of the senses.
First stage.
The person.
First one, second one. First stage. By contemplating the objects of the senses. You'll become attached to it. So what does that mean? Don't contemplate the objects of the senses. If you let the mind go, you'll become attached. The mind will have a certain impression, and that impression will stay with you. And that same impression will come up when you meet those. So by contemplating the object of the senses, one, go on.
A person develops attachment to them, and from such attachment, lust develops.
Such attachment, lust, that means it's embedded in your mind. Like for instance, you ate a cheesecake last week. It was really nice. It was just right. The bottom was just nice, crumbly, nice taste. So that's in your mind. And when you see that same cheesecake, what's going to happen? You're already there, man. You're already tasting it because you tasted it last week. So by contemplate the object of the senses. So read the verse again. I'll try not to interrupt. Sorry.
While contemplating the objects of the senses, the person develops attachment to them. And from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises.
Anger, you got that? On the next verse, so we've got that. Contemplation. Next one is attachment.
Anger. From anger, complete delusion arises.
Yeah. Let's see. I should have wrote these down to make it more easier. Now read 63 as well. If you're not done already.
From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls
down into material form. Okay? So from contemplation, you become attached, then you develop desires to enjoy that, and then you become, angry in the pursuit of that. If you can't get it, because unlimited, then from anger, what comes next? Delusion. You become weaker when someone gets really angry, keep out their way. Anything can happen. Then from anger, they lose to forget. When someone's angry, they forget. You heard the stories? Wife found in boot of car. Husband found at bottom of swimming pool. Means the wife has killed the husband in anger and a fit and a rage of people do that in anger, isn't it? They kill their own family members. They forget. Then they fall down. Okay, so here's the. Okay, got that? 8 stages.
8 stages.
Yeah.
So wait, sorry, it's attachment, lust.
These 7.
Attachment, lust.
Stuff.
Contemplation.
Got that? You can do that after class today. Just make sure you're clear on those 8 stages. Yeah. You stay on these 2 verses. Yeah. Yeah, you know. Okay, so can we 64?
From anger. 64.
Now we're going the other way. Now we're going, but yeah, go on.
When a person free from all attachment and aversion, able to control his senses to regulate the principles of freedom, can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord.
Yeah, all right. I love this. Vashadam atigachati. Vashadam means mercy. If you control your senses, you'll get complete mercy of the Lord. Vashadam atigachati, complete mercy of the Lord. So free from all attachment and aversion, and able to control his senses through the regulative principles. Yeah? Get complete mercy.
So you get the cheesecake.
Get the cheesecake. Complete mercy of the Lord. Raga Dvesha Vimuktesh too. So free from all dualities. Controlling our senses. So Shadam, Vigachati, we get the mercy of the Lord. Yeah. Okay. 65. I'll read this one. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries. Again, the threefold miseries. Anxieties come from our body and mind, anxieties come from other people, natural catastrophes. But they don't exist. Interesting, isn't it? They don't even exist anymore for such a person. Once such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. Okay? Very nice verses, aren't they? Very instructive. Yeah, a couple of minutes left. What's 5 minutes left? Okay. Now the other Nasti Buddha Yuktasha Nata Kritisha Bhavana. Someone could read this one for us.
One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a stable mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace?
Okay, this is a nice verse. Okay, I think this is breaks it down. Yeah. Nasti Buddhi Yuktasha. Yeah. Without peace, without first the uncontrol, bring the mind under control, bring the senses under control. Yeah. If you don't do that, if you can't, if the senses not controlled, there's no peace. Without peace, how can there be happiness? Ashanta Shakuta Sukam. Yeah, Ashanta, there's no possibility of being happy unless we're peaceful. There's no possibility of being peaceful unless we control our senses. Yeah. How can there, yeah, one who's not connected with the Supreme? Yeah.
Is that the Prabhupada gives the analogy of the driver and the senses with the passenger in the chariot?
Yeah, he brings it here in this purple.
No, I'm just wondering because it's I'm just wondering if
you could apply that here very nicely, yeah. Yeah. So we have to get on to see that picture, Bhagavad Gita. We should normally it's a picture of a lost soul, isn't it? The reins are under the horses are going all different directions. And each one represents the senses, you know. So yeah. And that senses have taken us for a wild ride in this material world, birth after birth. Yeah, body after body. Nasti Buddha Yuktasha, not Yuktasha Bhavana. If one does not do this. Another verse goes the other way now. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat in the ocean, again, even one of the roaming senses of which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Yeah. Even one of the roaming senses. From Prabhupada's purple. Unless all of the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, even one of them engaged in sense gratification can deviate the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement. As mentioned in the life of Maharaj Ambarish, he brings up again. This is where these verses are there. All of the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness, but that is the correct technique for controlling the mind. Okay, so there's a challenge for you. All the senses engage in Krishna's service. Yeah. That's what we're trying to do as devotees, you know. Sometimes we may succeed, sometimes we may not, but this is what we want to achieve. You know? The senses are there for Krishna's sense gratification, not for ours. You know? To order, that's what we want to achieve. You know? 2 minutes.
Does that mean that they're not away in terms of devotional service is the only way? Because if you're not doing that, then you will resort to this lower test.
But there's some yogis and some gyanis who are very strict and very staunch gyanis and yogis. They can meditate for a long, long time. Yeah. But because they're not connected to Krishna, the wrench in them is sometimes. Yeah. Therefore, Madhyam one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. Is there any self-study question there? Prajna. Tasya prajna pratishtita. Yeah. One more verse?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've done quite well. Sorry, I've done quite well. I'm trying to cover the whole chapter and finish the chapter, and we've only got a couple of verses left. We can finish that quickly next week, no problem. This interesting verse here. Someone can read this one here.
What is night for all beings is a time of awakening from the self-control. And a time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage.
Okay, so we'll leave it for there for today. So just a meditation here. Complete people not practicing these spiritual principles cannot understand what is spiritual life and vice versa. So pick up this from here. Looks like the question is from. Okay.
If you just want to comment, maybe this can be quite relevant, like how people outside sleeps like really late. And then we see people living.
Yeah, we experience this, like when devotees are coming from Mangaladi, you know, they just woke up. Everyone's going home from the clubs. The opposite. Yeah. Okay, thank you for your kind attention. We're stopping on time, 1:30. I hope this has gone in. Second chapter, we more or less completed it. How many verses in second chapter? 4 left. 4 left, 2 left. So we'll look at that next week. Then we'll get into third chapter, okay? And don't forget, have a go. Let's try to get into your slokas, you know, and try to, you know, start marking them off, etc. Yeah? Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai.